The breakfast show this morning, keeping our guest, would you believe, on hold, but it is good to see that he's with us because a good friend of mine, and I can say that I've known Andrew now for, well, almost 3 decades, which is going back a little bit. It really, really is. Believe me, I remember the days of Area 51. You know, that's going back down the channels. But for those of you that are joining us right now on Facebook Live, nice to have you along. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're going to watch this a little later on YouTube, you know what to do, right? Yeah. Sub, thumb, bell. Bingo. Joining us, coming out of Auckland, and the band, The After, I'm loving this band, I really, really am, is the man himself. Brainchild to it, would you believe? Andrew Featherstone. Andrew, pleasure to have you back.
Thank you, mate. Nice to see you again. It's been a while.
And you know something, I'm loving the Kiwi accent too, by the way. We get to speak to so many Americans, so many Canadians, so many Australians. Kiwi.
Yes, you do, don't you?
We do. We really do.
Closer to home for this one.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure because we don't get enough Kiwi artists to interview. I've got to be honest with you, so I'm making the most of it. By the way, how's Paul?
I haven't seen him for a wee while, so all good. Last I heard.
Yeah, now he is in The After. He's your drummer, isn't he?
No, he's just on playing on that song.
Oh, okay.
But the drummer I've been working with lately, and should be on the next tour, is Sam Holden from Skinny Hobos.
Very, very cool.
So fantastic drummer. So yeah, I'm pretty blessed to be surrounded by lots of great musicians. So it's always nice.
Well, I tell you what, and I really want to talk to you about, well, we have a couple of projects that we got in mind coming into New Zealand, which include a couple of names. I've got to be honest with you. We've got the Viking Queen, whom we're going to be interviewing after you, to be honest with you, coming out of Norway, hooking up with a band coming out of Canada. Their name is The Mighty One. In there, we're also going to incorporate, I don't know whether you remember the band Autograph.
Yes, vaguely. I remember that name around quite a bit.
Yeah, Turn Up the Radio used to be the big fave, if you know what I mean. Well, a good friend of mine out of that band, his name is Steve Lynch, the lead guitarist. He's going to be getting involved along with Dave Evans, first lead singer of AC/DC. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was going to talk to you and say, how would you like The After to be able to be a part of this show? Would you be interested in getting on stage with these guys?
Oh, absolutely. And The After will go before.
Exactly.
Yeah, mate. No, we'd love to.
And then we'll have a night after, and after the night.
Yeah, have the after party.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the green room will never be the same again, I can tell you that. But I tell you what, I'll send you a couple of videos of the Viking Queen and also of something that I challenged these guys to do. I introduced both bands, would you believe, and challenged them. You remember the Charleston?
The Charleston?
Yeah, Charleston. It was a dance with its own music. About
right.
100 years ago, I was saying to these guys, you're not going to get done for copyright. Why not make a song together, both bands, put the Charleston in there as your hook? After about six hours and a lot of in between, they came to the conclusion they couldn't do it. They just couldn't bring themselves to do it, you know what I mean? So I gave them another challenge, and that was come up with a Christmas song. They knocked it out of the park. I'll send you the video.
Nice.
It is fantastic. Then you'll get to know what these guys are like. Top class. Absolutely top class bands, both bands.
Awesome.
But I'm here to talk about The After. You see, I'm that excited. I want to already start doing concerts with The After. I really do. How did the name come about?
Well, it's sort of a bit of a journey. I mean, I kind of, been through the ringer with lots of different bands and lineups, as lots of us have, and wanted to just sort of build a project that was immune to the typical spontaneous combustion that seems to happen with bands. Oh shit, such and such can't make the tour, we're screwed, blah blah blah. Such and such is falling out with such and such. But it gets a bit tiring, so basically build a project where I'm just driving it forward, and if a lineup stays, then it'll become more of a coherent consistent long-term rider. If not, never mind. No momentum lost. So that was kind of where it came from. And so then I was playing around with names, and I had a bit of a, Andrew Featherstone's team of eclectic rockers and all these sort of silly things, and then and I kind of like, after all the other stuff, after all that shit is the real stuff, It kind of had a bit of a feel like that to me about it, and so it just sort of morphed into the After.
Well, I'm absolutely loving the name. Now, tell me about Clear to Me. It is clear to me that this is going to be a major hit here in New Zealand, I know that. But when we played this, literally it blew up the internet here at Galaxy. We've played it about 3-4 times now, and each time we get a huge reaction to it. Everybody wants to know who, what, when, where, how. So let's start with the Clear to Me. How did you come to the lyrics?
It's actually, I wrote this song a long time ago. It's been, 20-something years probably, when my son was first born. And it's always been a bit of a favourite of people. You play a gig and people come, oh, it was great, man. Oh, I really like that song. And it's always been like that. So I played it with many different people over the years, and even released a previous version of it years ago. So what the story was, I was living in my recording rehearsal studios, Area 51 in New Lynn, West Auckland. And, I've been living and breathing music, like literally living there. And at the time, my partner, the mother of my children, was living there, and our first stepdaughter and living there, and then she got pregnant, and my son was born, and we were literally living in the studio, and I had Battle of the Bands going on in multiple towns then. I think it wasn't internationally yet at the time, but a lot of different things going on in my life, and it was just overkill, really. It was just too many things, and having a baby didn't stop anything whatsoever. Even my ex-partner, my good lady of a mother, worked right up to a week before, and then again. So, but it was just all getting too much, and we had like 5 bands rehearsing at once per night. So one day we're let's just get the hell out of here. So I grabbed an acoustic, a 4-track recorder, cassette 4-track, drum machine. I think I took a bass and a bunch of little demo gear. Grabbed the baby. Mum jumped in the car and we just drove north with no plan. Didn't get that far. Got to like Whangaparoa, Red Beach it was, and by some, it's probably pre-internet, so I don't even know how I found it, but I found this little beach down by the ocean, this little house down by the ocean, and sat there sort of stressing out, and I turned my, it wasn't pre-cell phones, but I remember there were cell phones happening. I turned my phone off, and I had my brother-in-law staying at the studio, looking after all the bands and letting everybody in and out. And so I turn it on once or twice a day. Oh, Jimmy and the Idiots have cancelled Tuesday night, and such and such a band can't make it, and all the PA's blown up in room 4, and blah, 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 do this, do that, grab the PA from room 2, and tell the other guys to turn up at 7, blah, blah, blah. All right, turn my phone off. And so that was the state of mind I was in, and just, it was sort of ironic, really, because it was kind of a little bit about the band member stresses in life too at the time. There was a lot of the usual, often when you get a band, you get 1 or 2, maybe 3 people that are totally enthusiastic and driven and let's go, anything, everything, and then you've got other guys that, like it for the fun of it and whatever, but they're not really up for it. They're going to let life get in the way. So, that stuff was all going on, and so I was just trying to figure out how to put all the pieces together, really. And so long explanation, but that's the background of the song.
I absolutely love it. I really, really do. Got to give a shout out to the band members as well. Eddie Rayner on keyboards, of course. Tim Allen there on vocals. Brendan Thomas guitars and vocals as well. Ian Black on guitars and vocals. Paul Marshall, that's where I got it from, was Paul Marshall, he's on drums. Steve James is on percussion, and of course Andrew Featherstone, the brainchild and bass and guitarist as well. Absolutely fantastic. Now I want to give a shout out to Chrissy Talladega and also Cindy Davenport's joining us this morning, and Gay Miranda. Now, Gay Miranda is the manager of Viking Queen, one of the bands that I've been telling you about, so he's watching right now. So better do this without further ado, literally, and believe me, I better do this first.
Galaxy 107fm.
Yeah, I got my on-air producer in the background going, you see, you got all lost and you forgot to put in the stinger. So, right here at Galaxy 107 FM, joined by a good friend of mine, Andrew Featherstone from the band The After. Here it is, Clear to Me, right here at Galaxy. Something is just attracting people with this song, right?
Oh man, that's so great to hear. I've had so much good feedback. You know, normally when you put out a song, it's very little by little. Oh yeah, we'll check it out and get back to it. Oh, we might put it on nights and give it a dribble and see what. And I haven't gone to the big networks yet. I'm just doing that now, and I haven't really gone offshore much yet. But everyone said love it straight away, and it's gone on to like quite a high rotate with everybody straight away. So, couldn't ask for more really.
Well, believe me, bro.
So we'll see. It's still, it's like climbed a little hill, but there's still the Everest climb to do.
Well, this is true too. But I got to be honest with you. We've put it into about 3 different shows, and I've been playing it in the breakfast show as well. So it's getting a bit of exposure, my bro. And we love that. We do. Believe me, we've got a lot of bands that we have been promoting just lately from all around the world, if you know what I mean. And this particular track is right up there with these other bands. Absolutely fantastic music. And then I get people saying, where's the after? Give us a sneak preview of the after. I'm going, holy hell, somebody's been listening. I love that. So I really would like to ask you, can we get Barbara in touch with you to get a few details of you to put you into a magazine in India?
Yeah, man. Totally.
Because we would like to make you the feature. You see, we have a column in this magazine, and
awesome.
We would like to make the after the feature this month or next month. Is it?
Could be this month.
It's going to be in a magazine called Lazy Indie Magazine coming out of India, and believe me, I'll get Barbara to introduce you to Jay as well, because fantastic guy, artist in his own right. He's got his own bands and everything, so believe me, he talks the lingo, And the crazy thing, bro, is that he's saying for many, many decades, centuries, millennia, they've been stuck in this Hindi music kind of deal, and they're only just now learning Western music. I'm thinking, perfect time for concerts. You know what I mean? Just as finding out what Western music's about.
Well, once we get after the COVID thing.
Yeah, exactly.
After all that shit,
Exactly.
Great, man.
Exactly that.
Fucking here and everywhere.
Believe me, I know. How is it going for you up there in Auckland at the moment? Are you okay? Nobody?
Yeah, man. I'm very confident in our response. It's fucking world class. We've written the rule book of how to fucking deal with it, and we get updated every day with every minute fucking detail. Case G, a 13-year-old girl, passed it to her schoolmate. They're both in a hotel already, and we've been checking cousins, the fucking classmates, and everyone's had a fucking swab up their nose, and we're looking for that fucker now. You compare that with anywhere else, you can't even do that anywhere else because it's just riddled.
No, exactly.
So I'm in the city with an outbreak, but it's not, man. There's fucking 7 or 9 people locked up in a hotel.
Yeah,
and free food looked after nicely.
Exactly. Let's go back to the desk, right? Hold on. That's right, you're right, here at Galaxy 107 FM, and I'm joined by a good, long-time friend of mine, Andrew Featherstone, out of the band The After, and believe me, Andrew's been in the business many, many years. When you mentioned Area 51, I remember driving down that driveway round the back, and yeah, through that. Yeah, there was a lot of fun those days, they really were. Used to get, if I remember right, it used to get swamped when it used to rain.
Unfortunately, the building got completely washed away a few years ago. Fortunately for me, I was already out of there. But a good friend of mine, Josh Parbury, who's a drummer, a great musician from Auckland, he took over the building and he was in it. But luckily for him, he was actually moving out at the time too, so he got most of his stuff out. But he was in I think it was One News and the Herald and stuff. Because he had a rabbit. And he was running around the flooded building looking for his rabbit, and there was like a big round thing where the aircon vent used to be. It was gushing. It looked like Poseidon movie. Bizarre, because it was the lowest building in the area, and
yeah, believe me.
And we got a little bit of flooding, but nothing like that.
Believe me, bro, I have fond memories of that building, I really do. Well, fun was had back in those days, and including, I still remember the Battle of the Bands deals and all of that sort of stuff back in the day as well. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Andrew, when are you going to be releasing new stuff? Will you come back again?
Oh, most definitely. Quite a bit of stuff in the works, but it's going to be a wee while. I'm not kidding myself how long it's going to take to push one song to the peak that I guess you push it to the peak and make sure you've got a backup one, but, some people sort of think you should spit out something every few weeks, but I don't. So it'll be a while. There's some material that I recorded a while ago that needs finishing. I'm working on a couple of brand new songs at the moment that I'm really enjoying. My producer's in Brisbane and I'm in Auckland, so we've got that little barrier as well. But I mean, I may track stuff here, send it to him and bounce back and forth, but I would prefer to be in the same room with our magician, Mr. James.
Yeah, believe me, very, very talented man in his own right, Steve James. Of course, he's Grammy nominated. He's an ARIA-winning UK producer as well. So believe me, you are in some very, very good hands. But, I actually thought you might have been producing it yourself, quite frankly, being the talent that you are.
Well, I've known Steve for a long time now. He's been, I mixed the Jaggedy Ann album with him, even though Phil Rudd produced it. Mama Said, I don't know if you remember that band, amazing record we made with those guys. They were Battle of the Band winners in 2000, I think. Same year Blind Spot almost won, but they didn't have such a great gig that night. Mama Said came along and just took the night out. So way back then in my old band Kosher, a couple of singles with mixed. So I've been spoiled, I suppose, by finding somebody so amazing to work with. And, I'm pretty full on in the studio myself. I have way too many ideas, and sometimes I really know what I want to do. But Steve doesn't stop me doing that. I just watched a really interesting interview last night with Tom Larkin talking about Weta and Geographica. And there was a little piece of the interview where he was talking about how Aaron and Steve were such a great creative duo. Added another element to it, and I could so relate because he's such an amazing person to work with. And you don't want to go backwards when you've experienced that. And so I kind of get the best of both worlds, because I can kind of be my own little producer to some degree, but then I've got this much more experienced sounding board who'll stream that stuff and sort it out. And it's nice because then I can wear the artist hat a little bit, and I don't want a mouse in my hand while I'm doing that.
Well, not many, if any.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
Just be in the zone.
Got to say hi to Tina as well. Happy birthday, Tina. Thank you for joining us. And Kevin Crazen is on there as well from the band Bad Boy Eddie. And thank you for the CDs and everything that we received yesterday. Well, actually, we've had them for a few days, but Barbara was unable to get to the point where we could actually open it. So Thank you very, very much for joining us. Andrew, we're going to have to move on very, very quickly, but
Sure.
thank you so much for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to catch up with you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. Great to see you.
Don't go anywhere just yet. I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about, but right now, let's go back to the other studio. Here's Alison Krauss, and when you say nothing at all.